Welcome to part 28 of the 2018 NFL Draft in Review. Today we will be taking a look at the 2018 Tampa Bay Buccaneers draft class, which looked pretty good initially and has turned out pretty well in the end as well. So we will be starting with the 12th overall pick, defensive tackle Vita Vea. And he's been a starter pretty much his whole career. He's definitely, I would say, improved in the last few seasons, as there was a point where I heard a little bit of rumbling of dissatisfaction with him in terms of his production. But like I said, we're really starting to see it pick up. He got 6.5 sacks last year, despite missing 3 games, and he doesn't really seem to get involved much in fumbles or really much else other than tackles, but he does a good job. He can get to the quarterback despite playing defensive tackle. He doesn't get quite the tackle for loss numbers I'd like to see from someone playing in the middle of the defensive line, but overall it offsets and you've got a reasonably pretty good player. So let's go here, take a bit of a look at Vita Vea during the 2022 season. Good job getting off the center to nail a quarterback that had a good run while Dak Prescott was injured, at least. There's in the middle, drops back. Ed is there to stop that and force the fumble. It's not often I see a big guy that can kind of move a little bit like a linebacker. Getting Mariota there, I think. That's not easy. Mariota is a reasonably mobile quarterback. He could have taken off there and gotten like good, maybe 5 to 7 yards. It's off the tackle, stuffs the run. It's off it again, stuffs the run. That's what you want to see a defensive tackle do. I just kind of wish that Vea would do more. He's running back in spite of a double block. That's pretty good. Yeah. Getting Lamar, despite Lamar being one of the absurdly fast quarterbacks in the league. Really, I think Lamar... That's one of the moments that makes me think that Lamar's just not that good of a quarterback. You know, you have these moments where you should run and he keeps trying to look to throw the ball. You know, he's got a habit of trying to prove himself in moments where he should just do what he's good at. Yeah. Show off in the moments when just doing your job is the basic expectancy. Don't force it. So, back to the highlights here. And not a good cutback by the running back there. Even with a bit of help there, being able to push 2 offensive linemen back into their quarterback is impressive. Even on a unit like the Rams that wasn't particularly good, that's impressive. This guy's strong. He's got enough moves to get around the block when the ball carrier comes into his zone. Very good defensive player to have, but I would say that if he wants to win another Super Bowl, he should probably get himself out of Tampa Bay. They're not going to be relevant again for a while unless they can somehow strike on another quarterback extremely quickly. And I'm not entirely convinced that's what's going to happen. So, with the second selection, they took Ronald Jones, running back. And this is one of those instances of it's kind of sad to see where he's ended up, because he looked like he was about to be one of the better running backs in the NFL. You know, let's see, about 1,000 yards from scrimmage total in 2020, 978 on the ground, 7 touchdowns. You know, that was a really, really nice thing for the Buccaneers to have, because the Buccaneers usually don't do that. The Buccaneers are consistently one of the worst running teams in the league pretty much every damn year. You know, they're the best runner in the history of the franchise is probably Mike Allstott. And, well, Allstott was fun to watch. He was still a fullback. A fullback should not be the best runner in your team's history. Period. And it's also not like that was from the 70s. That was from the 90s into the 2000s. That shouldn't happen. At that point, the NFL is moving on. You're moving into the era of superstar, home run hitting running backs, as well as the decline of the position as the passing game really took over the NFL. And Tampa Bay's best runner is still fullback. So, but back to Ronald Jones here, then you just see this just wild collapse. He's now signed with the Dallas Cowboys, third team in 3 seasons. And I don't really see anything saying that Ronald Jones is going to be any bigger of a part of this offense than he was with the Chiefs. So this is just sad to me. I really would have liked to see Ronald Jones be more. I really think he still could be, but teams just don't seem to want to give him that chance to do it, even though he could. It's not like he's an old running back either, so I don't really see the problem. So, coming over here,
a little more in depth of what they actually do. Little toss outside. Ronald Jones
see a little bit of the highlights from the Chiefs, what few things they gave him to do.
Ronald Jones breaking free out to the 30. Holmes is done for the afternoon. Hand off Ronald Jones. And he'll get the 20. Bit of a low snap. Ronald Jones touched it. It's just a fantastic story.
Tornado pitch to Jones, gets the edge, good room. Ronald Jones, first down and more. Ronald Jones, good.
Cut down, and now you got Gronkowski, you got Wirfs. It's exactly what we just saw on the touchdown from Atlanta. Tampa Bay comes back with a big third down.
Jones again to the outside. Jones to the end zone. Touchdown.
Tough block. Try and stay on, and then here comes Marpet to kick out. Remember the rule.
Here he is from the pocket, going underneath. Going to Ronald Jones. High stepping it down the sideline. Here's Jones to the edge. Jones walks it in. First down and 20. Jones is hitting the backfield, spins out of that, turns it into a big play. Fuller up at the top. Brady over the middle. Pass is caught.
Pitches in Tampa Bay at the skill position. What they don't have is that guy right there out of the backfield. Now, did he catch it? Because if he did, he was not touched.
Whoa.
That's
Ronald Jones will get
a big hole. Jones gets by. Ronald Jones may go all the way. Being chased from behind. Does Jones have enough? Still on his feet. Ronald Jones, 98-yard touchdown.
Jones will just run it again.
Yeah, like I said, I don't understand why this guy has declined so much. You know, you've got these just absurd plays that he can make. He's a reasonably good pass catcher. He has the explosive ability to go more. Usually he won't, but like I said, he's got a good mix of speed and power. So what the hell's the problem? I would say that a running back needy team should consider picking him up, and yet somehow he ends up in Kansas City, where they're a very pass-heavy team that, you know, if you're not the top guy, you're probably not getting too much work in the running game. You know, now Dallas, where, yeah, they just let Ezekiel Elliott out of the building, but now they got Tony Pollard, who's better in both those categories, basically. So it's just, I think this is going to be one of those players that, for some reason, his chance just evaporated, and it's going to basically kill his career very quickly. So, unfortunate, but we've seen it before. So, the third selection the Buccaneers made was cornerback MJ Stewart, and while I don't have a highlight reel open for him, Stewart has done a reasonable job in his career. He hasn't really been a starter very much, but they do let him on the field a good bit. And he doesn't really get a lot of interceptions, pass deflections, but he is pretty good in the reasonably good for the position in the tackling department. And while that doesn't seem to be something that makes teams want to keep him around, because as you see, he's been through 3 teams in his first 5 years, and he's still with the Texans, but like I said, 3 and 5 years suggests some flaw in the game. But I would say this suggests he's a reasonably good depth player for a team to have. Especially a weaker team that is lacking in depth, which, secondaries like the Browns and Texans typically are in need of, so. But where I messed up on this one was I expected him to be better than the 4th selection, cornerback Carlton Davis. And Carlton Davis has effectively just done way better than I figured. I actually wouldn't have been surprised if he had been cut, because coming out of college, it just didn't look like... No, screw off fucking ads. But yeah, coming out of college, it didn't really look like Carlton Davis would really do very much. A lot of his highlights from back in college, it was like, okay, he kind of hits hard. He doesn't really have the best looking hands or anything. It's like, I want to see more because I'm not really seeing enough here. But since he's been in the NFL, it's pretty much been the direct opposite. He's done much better in intercepting the ball, though the amount of pass deflections does line up with what I expected. You'd think nearly pulling 15 to 20 a year would result in a couple more interceptions than that, but it is what it is. He also doesn't really put up... Well, he does decently in the pretty good in tackle category. But the issue is he's pretty much never played a full season. Just about every year the Buccaneers lose Carlton Davis for at least a couple games, and it hurts every single fucking time. You can notice how much worse... it's noticeable how much worse the Buccaneers' defense is without him on the field. So we'll come over here, again, 2022 season, and here we go. Good job making him work for it. Let's see. Could have gotten called on defensive pass interference there, I think. Good deflection there. That's absolutely interceptable. Should have been picked off. You have got to hold on to that kind of pass. That's honestly the kind of play action thing that a slightly better corner is probably going to hop the route and pick off the pass on. Not a good play by the Falcons. Again, that is something I've already noticed, is that Carlton Davis does not seem to be aggressive enough. He hangs back a little bit, and part of it is to make sure that you can secure the tackle if the receiver manages to beat you for the catch. But if you are that little bit more aggressive, you are 1 or 2 steps closer, that's an interception, that's getting taken back a ways. Yeah. We see the interception machines of this league. They will be closer than that. That's why they get those interceptions. Good wrap-up play there. You've gotta catch that. That is a horrible pass by a quarterback that shouldn't be in the league anymore. You've got to punish that sort of play. And like I said, that's about what I expected. It's like he does seem to do a little better in the NFL than he did in college, but those same weaknesses are still there. If he could work on his hands and his aggression in pursuing interceptions, Carlton Davis could damn near be the best corner in the league, I would say. But he just plays that extra step or two off the ball that prevents a lot of undercut route interceptions. His hands aren't that good. He gets a lot of pass deflections and is a good tackler, but that's not really, I would say, a game-changing player beyond the fact that the Buccaneers' secondary is just not deep enough to sustain an injury to a player like this. So, moving along swiftly, it is to the offensive tackle, Alex Kappa. And if I recall correctly, because I set a lot of this up yesterday, but ultimately chose not to record, Kappa has been a starter for a good chunk of his career since his rookie season. But Tampa Bay did not elect to keep him around. He's now with the Bengals, part of the attempt to upgrade the line to protect Joe Burrow a little better, and it worked to a degree last season. So, it's curious, though, that he's not one that really seems to have much in the way of non-college highlights, so unfortunately I don't really have anything to show you of this player, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to see him a little bit, but sometimes you just at the mercy of highlights. So, next up we have safety Jordan Whitehead, and this has been another, as far as I know, pretty good player of this class. Has been another almost career starter, and he doesn't quite put up the tackles I'd expect of a safety, but that is largely because he has not played a full season. Pretty much any years of his career, does well enough with, usually gets 2 interceptions, not bad in the pass deflection categories. Not the greatest return man when he gets the ball in his hand. But this is a player that you can really just move him around everywhere, which is what I like to see in safeties. So we'll now come over here for the last player that's got a highlight reel on the list, and here we go with Jordan Whitehead. I believe he's also now with the Jets. That's something to remember.
A little different challenge for Philadelphia today. Hurts keeps and goes down. Jordan Whitehead made the play. Here is a handoff to Sanders and tripped up. Whitehead again.
Solid job.
After a loss of 10. Off the play fake, Darnold to throw middle of the field. Deflected, nearly intercepted by Whitehead.
Newton surveying the field, lobs it in the air, and it's batted away and then intercepted by Murphy Bunting. It was tipped away by Shaq Barrett and caromed into the hands of Jordan Whitehead, who comes up with the pick. Abdullah in motion on second down. Quick toss to Amir Abdullah. Tough hit, and Abdullah
Mr. The right 32 quarterbacks better than me on these plays against the Panthers.
What a half he has had for Tampa Bay. We redo first down and 10 from the 25. Newton on the keep, trying to get to the edge. He cannot. It's Jordan Whitehead again. What a game he has had.
3rd and 8. This whole drive that Taysom Hill runs.
Down conversions tonight.
3rd and 28. Jones rolling, tripped up by Tryon Shainka.
And it's out of bounds. Whitehead got a hand on it.
Solid deflection.
Good penetration that time by Whitehead.
Like I said, I like seeing safeties that are like this. They can lay a hit on any runner. They're good in stopping the run game. As you can see, he's had 4 tackles for loss every single season, if not more. Even 2 sacks in 2020. This is just a nice player to have. I'm a little surprised that Tampa Bay let him go. So he's just a nice piece for the Jets to have now, really. It's just good pickup by the Jets there. Not something I like seeing for the Jets have, because obviously I'm a Patriots fan, but still good for them to have. Next, we have wide receiver Justin Watson, and Watson is a player that I'm keeping a little bit of an eye on now, because first 4 seasons with Tampa Bay, he didn't do very much. But last year with the Chiefs, I mean, he career high in yardage, tie career high in catches, career high in targets. Could obviously work on catching them a little bit more, especially when Patrick Mahomes is now your quarterback. And had 2 touchdown grabs, so I'm not keeping an eye on him as a potential number 1 receiver sort of player, but I am keeping an eye on him because now the Juju's gone. Maybe the Chiefs will start working him into the offense a bit more. So we'll see what goes on with that one. The last one is Jack Cece, and 6 tackles out of the league. So not much to say about this one. Just the kind of the one dud, if you will. The one player that really didn't amount to anything in this league. So overall, way back when I called this class an A-, I figured that Whitehead and Watson wouldn't be very good, and Davis probably wouldn't be very good either, but Davis and Whitehead have been pretty good. You know, just the front 6 of this draft are pretty much starters, or at least had a moment where it looked like they would be. So this is another class I'm going to have to move up to an A+, because this is just a solid class. And unlike some other teams, the Buccaneers have had the brains to keep at least some of these players, as Vita Vea and Carlton Davis are still with the team. So that'll be it for this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, and I will start up next week with the 2018 Los Angeles Rams draft class. So, I will see you on Monday.